Hello everybody, my name is Tasman and welcome to my first butchery video. So I've just shot this beautiful red yearling. So I'll just show you guys how I chop it up boneless and without gutting it. This shoulder might be a bit mushed, but I'll do the rest of it. And I did shoot another one earlier today, which I might add some of the footage of. Start somewhere here. You want to cut outwards, from the inside outwards. Sort of just following the membranes here. This is a wee male yearling. So just bend it back and you'll find the ball joint. Just want to follow the bone. Try to leave as much meat as possible on the leg. Just like that. Let that cool for a bit while I do the other bits. So I like to just remove both back legs first. Definitely don't need a fancy knife. This is just my trusty Swiss Army knife. Already one deer blunted. So if you just pull the leg away from the body, it opens it out a lot so you can see what you're doing. Number 2, just arrange it a little bit. I like to start the skinny about halfway down. They're hairy things, aren't they? Now I use Barnes copper bullets, meaning there's no lead contamination. Therefore I can take most of the meat from around the bullet path. If you're using lead projectiles, it's recommended you don't take the meat within a 30 centimetre radius of the bullet's trajectory due to the risk of lead poisoning. Just come all the way up the neck. Something like that. More hairs you scrape off, now the easier. My entry shot is definitely a bit far back. You can see I took a bit of the back steak off with the back leg. But yeah, try and make it as hairless as possible. It makes it cleaner for later. Just take back that first bit of meat and then cut to the side of this neck tendon. Take your knife and cut down. Back steak goes back here, sort of behind the pelvis. Careful not to poke your knife into there because there's the guts is right there. But up here there's a few ribs which hold it away. Now there's a few vertebrae bumps, so if you cut around those, get a wee bit more back steak. I don't have any particular ritual or speech to honour the animal after the hunt, but the way I respect the life I've taken is to take as much meat as possible, which sometimes leads to heavy packouts, but also a sense of moral good. You will just pull on it a bit as you ease it away with the knife. And it goes right up behind the shoulder here. it goes right up into the neck here. So that's all backsteak there, and there's neck. Right, next I'll do the top side shoulder, but just take the skin back all the way down the shin. Helps if you can get the leg in such a way you can hold it with your legs. All the way down to the brisket. Just trim that gland off. Right, now this line here is the shoulder blade, so come down on the other side of it. A bit like that. Down, you can cut through that tendon, down the side of the, what would be the humerus if it was a human. Just cut it back from the shoulder blade. Cut down the other side of the shoulder blade and down the near side of the humerus. Down the back of the shoulder blade, there's a bit of meat stuck on the back there. It's close enough. I'll just lay that there for a second. So now this is just essentially the whole forequarter and all the connective tissues. Oops. So you can take this all the way up the neck. So that's fantastic stewing and mincing. I'll just trim a bit more of this neck up. Right, now this joint is a weird joint. But just come in from the side, it'll pop, and then you break it open. Try not to cut into the bone too much, otherwise bye bye edge. The reason I normally debone it all is because the backpack's normally quite heavy, but this is just a yearling, and the one I've got in my backpack is just a yearling as well, so a few bones and hocks will be really nice. So if you just bend it a few times, you'll see where the joint is. I'm certainly no expert in butchery, or even hunting for that matter. This is just the method I've developed over the years, which works for me. There's still plenty to learn. I just hope this video can help out a few of the newer hunters out there. Of course, a lot of people will just take the back straps and back legs, and I have no qualms with that. However, this is my preferred method and generally takes less than an hour with good meat recovery. Now we flip the whole deer over. Do the same on the other side. But this side we just continue the skinning down. Right, second backstick. Scraping hairs. To the neck. While I do the second forequarter, I'll tell you about the one and only time I've ever had problems putting the fresh meat straight into plastic. So it was the middle of summer and I headshot this stag. It was a 7-point stag, so it was pretty big, from about 100 metres away. But because I headshot him and I couldn't get down there fast enough to bleed him, he didn't bleed very well. So that was part of the problem. And also because it was summer, it was very warm. So I butchered him straight into the bag. So it was still quite warm. And when I got back to the hut, it was still pretty warm. But I thought the night was cold enough, but because it was the middle of summer, it just clearly wasn't. So it was actually still warm by the morning. So that was no good. Then it was a really hot, hard 15 k's back out to the car. And then by the time I got home, it was probably like 10 or 11 o'clock. And I didn't have any refrigeration. And I was a bit dumb and I didn't buy any ice. So problem on top of the problem on top of problem. It just didn't cool down for a whole 2 days, which was way too long. But and 90% of the meat went off, so it was incredibly disappointing after taking that deer's life and spending so much effort getting it out. There's a bit of bruising on this shoulder. So if you do put the meat into plastic bags like me, make sure to cool it down sufficiently as soon as possible. Placing the whole bag in a river for half an hour works well. I wouldn't normally take any of this, but I use Barnes TTSX copper bullets, so there's no chance of lead poisoning. I'm not sure, but it might be a bit of taint in the tenderloins, but we'll try. We'll have a look. So these are the short ribs. You just want to push the belly down a bit and cut just on the inside of them. And that's the tenderloin right there. A lot of it can actually be eased up just with your fingers. But if necessary, just get the knife in there. Just a small tenderloin from a small deer, but it'll be very tasty. Awesome. Right, I'll show you how to get the heart out as well. I've already slit that rib. You just need to isolate one of these ribs, cut it open, cut through that cartilage, bend the rib back, cut the next one. Helps if you cut the next one too, through that cartilage. Then you've got a nice little hatch to grab the heart. Fairly big heart for a small animal. Skin it down towards the hoof. Might do it differently again this time. So in here somewhere is the joint. So it's cut straight across. And then we'll take the hog off afterwards. With a nice hock. Thanks very much for watching, and let me know if you have any feedback or if you learned anything useful from the video. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please like the video or even drop us a comment if you feel like it, because those things really help the channel out, and I will see you in the next adventure. So I'll just show you guys how I chop it up boneless. so I'll just show you guys how to chop